Hello friends, in the series on the income tax cases, today we will discuss an issue which is related to the default in deducting the TDS. As all we know that the provisions of the Income Tax Act as far as the payment of TDS is concerned, by deducting the proper TDS and depositing the amount into the treasury of the government, the income tax department is very strict and the income tax provisions are very ruthless and even inhuman in case of TDS provisions. If the assessee makes some default in identifying the payments on which the TDS is deductible and the TDS is not deducted, then the assessee has to face a very bad music for that. Sometimes it happens that even if the TDS is not required to be deducted and the assessing officer misinterprets the provisions of the TDS, even then it is very harsh on the assessee to face the litigation for very longer period of time. This case is the perfect example that where the assessee has to feel the heat of the TDS provisions even if he is not required to deduct the TDS and he is not at default. The name of the case is Deputy Commissioner of Income Tax OSD versus Total Energies Marketing India Private Limited, and this case has been reported in 120 ITAT Tribunal at page number 137 and the date of the judgment is 16th August 2023. As far as the employee stock option plan is concerned, when the offer is given to the employees to take the shares under the ESOP plan, then it is a established law that if the employee opts to take the shares under the ESOP, then the difference between the market price of the share and the price at which the shares are allotted to the assessee or to the employee, then the difference between the market price and the price at which the shares are given to the employee is treated as perquisite under section 17, and the assessee has to pay tax on that and even the employer has to deduct the TDS on that. Now the question arises that if the shares are given to the employee under the ESOP, then there are two stages. First stage is that the offer is given to the employee. So the question arises whether the TDS is to be deducted at the time of offer or at the time when the shares are opted by the employee and shares are allotted to the employee. In the present case, the learned assessing officer was of the considered view that the TDS is to be deducted at the time of giving of the option, and that's why he treated the assessee in default, because the year in which the option was given and the year in which the option was exercised was different. CAT appeal gave the relief to the assessee by saying that the assessee is not at default. The TDS has been deducted at the time of the allotment of the shares. TDS has been deducted and the taxes has been duly paid by the various employees who has opted for the ESOP. The revenue took the matter to the tribunal and the tribunal also gave relief to the assessee. In the present case, there was second issue. There were some items on which the TDS is to be deducted. The amount was ascertained. The assessee has shown in the tax audit report, that is form 3CD, and the tax auditor has certified that form 3CD in which it was mentioned that these were the amounts on which the TDS was deductible but was not deducted. PAN number was there, amount on which the TDS is to be deducted was there, everything was there. But in that year the TDS was not deducted and paid, but in the next year the assessee has deducted that amount and paid that TDS into the treasury of the government. It was the view of the assessing officer that since the TDS has not been deducted and paid, so he applied the various provisions and treated the assessee in default as far as the TDS amount is concerned and the interest. When this matter travelled to the tribunal said that there is no denying the fact that the TDS was deductible and was not paid during the year, but it was paid in the next year after deducting. So the assessee should be treated as an assessee in default up to the extent only the interest which is payable by the assessee, because the TDS has been paid late. And the third issue in this case was that the assessing officer was of the view that the assessee has paid some discounts to the various distributors, and he treated the assessee in default by saying that the assessee was required to deduct the TDS under the head commission on this amount of discount. But when the tribunal heard the matter, the tribunal was of the view that in the present case the relationship between the assessee and the various distributors is principal to principal and not principal to agent, so the TDS is not required to be deducted and the assessee cannot be treated as assessee in default. So in the present judgment, all the three matters gave into the favor of the assessee. At the end of this video, once again I am repeating the name of the case. The name of the case is Deputy Commissioner of Income Tax OSD versus Total Energies Marketing India Private Limited, and this matter has been reported in 120 ITR Tribunal at page number 137. The date of the judgment is 16th August 2023. Thank you, friends.